Today is the day we made it. It's number 10.
Oh my God!
I love it. All right, let's just put our hands on our chest, get connected, and slow down. And take a deep breath in slowly and even slower than breathe out. And I invite you all to just let yourselves be, let your guards down, and look for the little child in you. Look him or her in the eye without words. Be with that. And then just give a big hug to yourself, to your inner child. And don't say goodbye. Just connect to that child and discover what's there, what's present for you in that connection. And then slowly come back and note how your body changed, how your breath changed, and who you are now. Alessia, what are you?
Here. Yeah. For me, those meditations that lead connecting with the inner child are always powerful and touch, it seems like the deepest layers of my being. And always very sensitive space that I find myself in when I connect with my inner child. But I feel like this is my, in a way, my truest part of me. It's my truest. I don't know any part that is more true than that inner child, that pure essence. And every time I connect with that part, he's sad always. Like I don't know if I ever connected with little Olesa and to find her happy. She's scared, crying, and the work that I always do with her is reassuring that she's safe and well. And I in a way made the peace that maybe that inner child I will never find her happy and open. Maybe she will always be scared and sad. And maybe my work is to reassure again and again and again. And that's it. So thank you for leading this beautiful meditation, Irma.
Thank you for sharing. I got to see, and my brain wanted to fix it for you right away. I was like, but Alessia, were you happy? Do you remember those happy moments when you were a child? Can we go there? Not let him be the, you know, we're so uncomfortable with sadness that to me, it's like I'm so uncomfortable with it that I want to fix it. Because of course, striving for happiness, for joy, that's what's there, and not embracing. We talked about embracing the sadness already, right? And here you are sharing, and I want to fix it. Should be just exploding from joy. Just be raw and just happy, like, and the eyes, like in my mind, eyes of children come and they are so deep, and a lot of the times they are sad. And I too got connected to the little me, and I mean, it's interesting, right? Every single picture I have I don't have one. It does not exist. One picture of me as a child where I smile. Just all of them are sad. So there is that, yes, the inner child that's sad and contemplative almost. Like it's like, it's almost as if those children knew what was to come, the life that we're about to live. In some magical cosmic way, they were aware what we came here for and what was the life going to be like.
Wow. And then what you're saying is like there is some kind of forgetting as we grow. We're forgetting what we are here for to
Or wanting to
experience
forget,
everything.
rejecting, forgetting and or rejecting and forgetting. And so then we put all things in place to adjust to how we're supposed to be or what's supposed to become of us, as opposed to letting ourselves unfold as humans. And then here we are. And for me, it's a new experience. I think you've started it earlier than me, but for me, it's new to actually rediscover and start listening to to the child and to consider even that she exists.
That's beautiful. So let's direct our conversation, Irma, to the inner child, but actually to the child that we were in our childhood. And some of us had a rough childhood, and some of us did all that it needs to be done so they don't have a rough childhood, learning all those mechanisms. But for me, my childhood, as much as I would like to say that it was a beautiful one and my mom was good and my mom will always be a good mom in my heart. And I feel like when I'm honest about my childhood, I'm making her the bad guy. And I don't want to make her the bad guy. But at the same time, I don't want to find excuses for her and for all those moments when she just didn't know other methods to educate me, but with beating up and naming me all those horrible names. And I wish she knew other methods for sure. And I don't want to be or to consider myself the victim. I don't consider myself the victim. And yes, I'm a powerful creator who chose this life with all those experiences. But at the same time, is that little Ulysses and me that got so scared of it. She's so scared of the humans because the person that she is supposed to trust the most, her mom, now in a way is abusing her. You know, verbal abuse and physical abuse, and I'm not okay with that. And even today, even to this day, there are still parents who do that to their children. And I had to fight because my tendency, yes, is to what resolve it with a slap because that's what I learned. So I had to, in a way, fight that beast in me since I had my children. I wanted to slap them. Oh, it would have been easier, but I never did because I used so much energy to stop that and be with that part of me, and just not manifest it just like that. I knew that there are other methods. I knew that. So, oh, there's still a lot of anger in me, and there's still a lot of trigger in me when I hear that children are abused.
Is there some ugly truth in there that you want to bring up that you have not seen yet or you have not asked yourself yet?
What are you asking exactly?
Well, everything you shared, it's what I'm hearing is it the struggle, internal struggle, right? Internal struggle of loving your mother and then not accepting and not being okay with that, of seeing that side in you and not accepting that. So there's the duality in who you're being, whether it's you as a child or you with your children. So I guess considering that this is the Ugly Truth podcast, what is it that you're hiding behind all that?
Behind what?
Behind the urge the urge to show up as the beast, you want to slap your kids, or behind the child who is not okay with the mom who did what she did, behind the hurt that you had. I don't know. I'm just wondering if there's another layer. There's another layer that's just there beyond those two versions of you.
The deepest, of course, there is not resentment, but hate for those parents that choose to use, this abusive method of having this control over their kids. But I think the behind all that is just there's so much fear of humans. So that for me is it's a huge conflict in me because I love humans and then I'm afraid of humans, and I'm like, how is that possible? When you want to hug someone, when you want to love them and you want to be with them, but at the same time you're afraid of them. So it's like, how do you do that? How do you do? And then there is this being a mom and have been a child myself and having this childhood. I feel like whatever I do, whatever methods I use with my children of educating them, let's say, I'm never doing enough for them. So there's a lot of guilt. And this guilt is something that I'm just carrying as something so heavy on my shoulders. A lot of guilt. Because, okay, I'm not slapping my kids, I'm not being like abusing in those methods that we're talking about, but in this way. But I think there is something, a part of me that considers that I still do something that is harming my kids.
Oh, I think you're right. No matter how much we try, and either we're trying to fix what we lived through as children and try not to be that, or we're not aware, and then we're automatically becoming our parents. And either way, no matter which way we go, our kids have the experience they have that's their own, and we are definitely harming them.
Yes.
There's no avoiding that. It's just human experience. We're not going to be there. I don't know if it's possible to be a perfect parent where the child grows up and is like, oh, that was perfection.
Yes, exactly. And I will tell you something. The ugly truth is, I think some of the memories that I have from the childhood or some of my perceptions are very distorted. Distorted because a child has a very limited perspective and their mind is still very little developed, or their capacity of understanding. And how I got this conclusion, I was with my daughter a few years ago in the same room, and we were having those conversations, and she didn't like something that I did, and she told me, I don't love you. And then in that moment I said, you know what, I'm going to tell her back the same just for her to see how it is. And I said, you know what, I don't love you too. Now, to this day, she's still talking about that moment. She still talks about that moment that shares with others. And sometimes she cries because of that moment. Although I told her, I told right in that moment when I said it, I said, I just told you because I wanted you to see how I felt. I wanted you to feel the same. So it was just to test. I don't mean it. I love you forever. But yeah, to this day, she still thinks it's true.
We choose the memories, and like,
Yeah.
also over time, the reality of what happened and how we remember it, they're not the same, right? We know that the more we say it, the more it changes, the more variation and the interpretation is added to that. And so then suddenly something happened, and now 10 years later it's a complete different thing, and it doesn't matter because that's how we live it as children or adults. It's true for everyone. What matters is not what happened at that point. It's the past that we created, that we choose to carry with us in the version that we choose to carry with us.
Yes. So then what am I crying about? Maybe there is some truth in, okay, I got slapped or more slaps, and but maybe it was not as bad as I think, and it's in my head. And as we're talking about that, yeah, I'm questioning whether all those memories are valid and as exact as I think they were.
And does it matter? Because that's what they are for you right now, and that's how you feel them. And I have a bigger question for you. Coming from the environment where you were told all these things by your mother, and this comes up quite a bit. Two things. Who did you become as an adult as a result of those words? And who did you avoid absolutely to become?
That's a brilliant question. Who I became this person with very low self esteem and self worth. And who I avoided to become? I avoided to become this courageous person that speaks her mind. Because every time I wanted to speak my mind, my throat and my voice was just shuttering down. I couldn't express. And it's hard, I mean, this space of our podcast is very healing for me because I can express what is there and I can express my truth. But don't you think that it's like for me, it's very easy to express that? It's still hard. And I still have those pain in my throat because everything in me is trying to protect me to not speak that. Yeah. I do believe that most of us are getting disconnected from from that inner child, and we forget about that part of us in a very dark room, maybe at the age of 5 or 6 or 7. And I think that is the saddest thing in the world, to forget your inner child and never come back to it, and never come back. When I came back to my inner child, and I think my work started in 2018, and I revisited in many forms this part of me. And she just told me that I don't trust you. You abandoned me and you rejected me completely just to please others and please your parents. And you're not, you were just rejecting me completely. And then I had to promise to her that I'm going to be connected with her at all times and ask her, what does she need? What does she need? And I didn't keep my promise all the time. I did not. Sometimes I completely forget to ask. And then, I go on my default. Irma, when I connect with my inner child and I connect with her and I talk with her, I feel whole. I feel that that's it. She's expressing to me, and me, I'm listening, and because for me, inner child, for me personally, is the disguise for our soul, for the higher self, for the soul. So this work of inner child, it's like reconnecting with your soul. Now, when you reconnect with your soul, you're whole. And we all are searching for wholeness, to be what we always were meant to be, or what we truly are. And I'm returning the questions, those beautiful questions to you, Phil, about what you asked me about, because there were, tell me about the inner child, Irma, little sweet.
I hear you speak, and I'm always amazed how connected we are and how different in so many ways we are. And I think maybe that's why we can contribute so much to each other. So for me, you know, the discipline was the disguise for abuse in culturally, right? I was raised in former Soviet Union, and there were children had their space and their place. And so my mother being incredible, I absolutely adore her. And we're connected in the ways where it just me and her, it has been that, right? And and at the same time, I remember the tiniest me watching her abuse my sister, you know beating her up with belt just because she would not practice violin for that many hours, or even the stuff that she would do with her fingers to make sure that her fingers were um, perfectly aligned on the violin, and she would tape them, and I just stand for 6 hours and practice all of that. And my sister is 6 years older than me, so here I am, the little one, and I'm watching this, and I think that kid there decided, well, you'll be a good girl now. You don't mess with her. Plus, there was this part of protecting my mom. She was she was having the life that she had, and I don't remember her being happy much. So it was my job to make her happy, to balance everybody else's behavior, so that with me she would find peace. She wouldn't have to worry. And so there was that, but there was also like, oh, you be a good girl because look what happens when you don't listen. And so I became a perfect student, perfect in the ways where she never really had to tell me that I had to practice. So at 6 years old, at 7, 8, 9 years old, I'd practice 6 hours of piano, 8 hours, because that's what's expected from me. Because I'm put on stage at 6, and I'm basically told that I'm going to be a pianist. So that's what we do. And unlike my sister, who said, I'm not going to be a violinist because that's not what I want. And she's the only one in the family who chooses no music in the women, rebel, right? I'm the one saying, no, I'm just going to go with that and make myself so special through my dedications, through my hard work, through the way I'm being, that all of them love me, all of them like me. I deserve it. So I became a good girl. And that hard work and being a good girl and that constraint and that framework. It's here. It's always here. I mean, I break free in many ways from the norm what's supposed to be. I break free when I get married at 17 to a man that is not accepted by the society where I am, or I do this or that, where I say, no, 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 I don't care. I'm out of here. But at the same time, I always make sure that what my mom expects of me, which is study, be committed to what you do. I'm that. And then here's the ugly truth. I become my mom when I have the child. So yeah, it's crazy. I absolutely had I was not aware of this machinery within me, right? When I had Annabelle, I was a fixer. I'm still am a fixer. I wanted to fix her right away. Guess what I did? She was 4 when she started piano. As in my mom and I, we made her practice 2 hours a day of piano. Who does that? Come on. That kid, I mean, she's brilliant and she's talented. Oh my God, look at this talent. And she's going to be, I did exactly the same. And this kid is, I mean, this is a different generation. She's in America. She's not in Soviet Georgia, right? And she's like, no, I don't want, she hates, she has all these choices. And we can push her till 7. And, she's performing. And she says, I hate music. The moment she said, I hate music, not piano, but I hate music, I was like, whoa, we pause. Because I don't want her to hate the most beautiful thing in this world. But, and I was her in punishment too. While maybe I gave her a slap or two. I don't, there might be that. I do remember once I did lock her in a bathroom. She was a tiny baby. I ensured that she was safe and I locked her in the bathroom. Just, I mean, come on. It took a complete breakdown. It took a super angry preteen and me almost losing her to make that switch, to see that, to be aware of that. In many ways, to me, she keeps teaching me so much. And so I think the biggest gift there has been, and I tell myself this is, and she tells me it's interesting. She tells me, we had to go through this so that we would discover and we will have this relationship today. So yeah, and today it's I'm sure I'm still messing up, and I'm sure I'm still being manipulative and whatever it is, but there is no doubt in my mind that this young woman knows that she can always confide and come to me, but she does. And we have an amazing, amazing relationship. But again, the fixer me, the automatically who I wound up being, that was not seen. That I think the biggest thing is maybe as parents, not maybe, as parents, we see the version of the children we want them to become. We don't take time to pause our perceptions and just get curious about who they are and discovering that they are not me, that Annabelle is not me. She doesn't function like me. She doesn't, she doesn't have this whole machinery that actually has her own ways to be. But
Yeah.
discovering that, accepting that, she would tell me, it's funny because I would always use the card of you don't know, how old people say, you don't know how easy you have it. You have all these choices, and I grew up
And
in a
back in
war.
the days, back in the days,
Back in the day, there was war and we were hungry and we had nothing and blah. And I remember it's still here. She told me, as a mom, I get that. And she told me, just because I don't have I don't live in war. I'm not hungry, or I don't have all those extreme experiences. That does not make my experiences any less valuable or any less
wow,
deep and hurtful because they are mine
wow,
and that's how I live them. And there she was like 13 when she told me that. And I had to just like cold shower, like so now it's like it takes something for me to not get into that world and say, okay, let me see, how does it feel to be a teen today? How would it be for me to be a teen today? It's terrifying. I'd rather go and choose the war than the world of filled with all these choices and noises and expectations and just social media.
and comparison,
Comparison.
Oh
Oh
my
my
God,
God, are you kidding?
that's
We were so protected from that. So yeah, this
yeah,
is a jungle. They have
yeah,
to go through such a jungle.
Exactly.
So that. So
And
where, and I do want to finish what I see very clearly, where we come from, and I think that exists a lot still, is where what we consider now abuse and is abuse is normalized. And it's so normalized, it's so part of society or upbringing or the way of being or way of parenting that we don't even see it. Recently, I told you, I shared with you earlier, recently I've been exposed to this world of abuse and how deep it can go. And I'm so surprised that I have not even considered to pause and see it because I didn't see all that as abuse. I saw it as part of parent like me. And now that I start discovering, I'm like, oh my God, we are all criminals.
yes,
What we do with these kids.
Irma,
Today, for you know, yes, go ahead, tell me.
can, can we actually confirm that an abused kid will grow into an abusive adult? And look at it. It doesn't have to be very obvious.
I think in some ways, absolutely, yes, of course.
Yeah.
We'll use emotions, we'll use some hidden, concealed way
Yeah.
to dominate. Not even abuse, but maybe it's not even abuse, but to dominate for sure.
Exactly. Because what it is done to you is the way you learn to do things. How else? Until you wake up to, oh, wow, what is it? And then you see. But you need to recognize that, yes, if you were an abused kid, you will be abusive in some way with yourself or with others. I mean, mostly as an abused kid, I'm mostly abusive with myself because I prefer to, not. But I can be also abusive with others too and harsh, and even when I want them to see the truth, I can be very harsh, like with you, Irma.
Yeah.
I'm harsh with the closest people. If you see me being abusive in some ways, please know that I love you and you're very close to me. If I'm allowing myself to be like that with you, and not to justify it for sure, but it's just a sign. I do that. I do that to my closest people.
I
Wow.
don't even know where is the question here. What's the question for us to discover, for all of you to discover?
Before we put the question and wrap it up, I want to ask you something, but just give me a very fast answer without thinking. If you'd bring in front of you the little Irma, that sweet girl of 5 years old, and if you had asked and if you would ask her right now, what do you need? What she would answer?
Love and acceptance
And how can you give it to her?
by being with her and not fixing her.
And our inner children, when they need love, acceptance, etc., they only need it from us. Other people can never give it to them. Or even if
It
they give
shows
it
up
to
as
them,
we are trying it. We don't always listen to that, right? So we attach that to the men, to the women, to mom, to this, but
for me, she needs me to listen to her at all times, not only today. Hey, just listen to me. Just see me that I'm here. So that she needs to know that she exists and I see her. That's it. So thank you. That was really amazing. And what is the theme of exploration for our people? Is, hey, if you'd close your eyes for a moment and connect with that little child in you of 5, 6, 7 years old, maybe younger, what they would say if you'd ask, hey, what do you need right in this moment? And you would listen to them unconditionally, what they would say, and share it with us. Because you deserve it and you deserve it. You deserve that space to ask, to be, and then to share with the world. Oh, for me, is like a dream. All the children of the world that can express themselves and talk and be listened by us, the adults, a biggest dream for sure. Thank you so much, Herman. That was an amazing exploration. Thank you for creating the space for us to talk about it.
thank you for diving with me. The dark world of unmet expectations, I guess. And thank you who are with us. who are willing to take the dive in and explore the inner child. And even more so, who are the ones who will share with us. Because we know we're clear. I'm clear that you all have inner children who are screaming to come out and to be heard.
Wow. Thank you so much. From our hearts to yours. See you next week. Bye, everyone.